Okay, halfway done with our game of Pantheon, and let's start a new era. Remember, blue is going to be going first, and we get Carthage. Carthage has this elephant here. That's going to start us over here. Has a couple little gold coins. Everybody's going to get to spend 2 gold for anything they can afford with 2 gold. They can't supplement it with their own cash, with cards, with whatever. They just get a bonus 2 gold to spend at this point to kind of build up their situation. This is going to require some definite thinking from my point of view. Oh, I got to remember those 2 cards on a per player basis. So I'll step away again because I don't think as well on camera. Before I can make that thought, I got to pull some more gods out. There's a new one. Wonder what that is. Looks like an extra card if you draw a card. We had somebody like that come up, right? I like this one, the extra bonus god when you get a god. Let's see. Let me make sure that is what I think it is. +1 card. Because to some extent, people may be considering... people may be considering one of the things you can buy is more gods. Everybody's a little more sacrifice tiles. Everybody's a little low on columns, though. That's just the nature of the game. Because you buy what you need, but your columns stay on the map. You tend to have a lot of feet. Yellow's kind of behind. But a number of the players may be thinking, I could really use a couple extra columns at this point. But maybe 1 column and 1 sacrifice tile would work out better. I'll decide per player. And indeed, most of the players went with a split, taking 1 sacrifice tile and 1 cylinder, 1 tower, because the chances of getting 2 towers is kind of low. Blue went with 2 towers, seeing that as they weren't very well position to use the sacrifice tile this turn. Everyone else kind of is in a position where they think they can get a god a little easier if they take a tile. One of the disadvantages, of course, with the tile, with taking a sacrifice tile, is we're getting late in the game. Cylinders are going to be worthwhile, or columns, at a certain, throughout the game, as long as you don't end up buying more than you ever need. You probably, at this point in the game, will use whatever you buy. On the other hand, these sacrifice tiles, well, you may not get another shot with them. Of course, on the other side of things, how much are cylinders worth? They're worth no more than 4 points, whereas even a single god tile coming because of your purchase is going to be worth at least that many points, plus whatever bonus it throws in. They become more valuable for victory points, even if they don't. Even if their bonuses become less important to you for the most part. This one becomes very tempting late in the game, though, because that's just going to be more victory points. That's all it ever is, right? Oh my, I forgot to draw these beforehand. These should have been out before people made their choices. I'm okay either way. I don't think it affected much. People might have bought feet based on this. I think, again, everyone but yellow has a good hand of feet, though. We know what these are. New steps on every action, a bunch of cards, some more pieces, really sweet there. More pieces here. Now these are choice, not plus. I may have cheated. No, before it's plus. This time it's either 2 columns or 2 pieces, or is it, you got your choice of what you want. Yeah, it looks like you got to pick one side or the other of that division. It's not spelled out here, but that's fine. We can. There's certainly some gray areas in these rules up for some interpretation. Now the sacrifice token means you get 2 more levels. 2 levels of tile is kind of nice. Just getting 1 level is kind of weak, but 2 levels is pretty decent. I'm looking at blue and having a tough time finding a working foot. He doesn't have a lot of he doesn't have foot cards, so he'd only be getting 4 actions. 4 actions isn't terrible, but it doesn't look like he has much he can gain with 4. He could run down 1, 2, 3, okay, or 1, 2, 3, 4, or get a bonus, some items, but I don't think he's going to take the move action because he just doesn't have the hand for it. Hopefully, from his point of view, it'll wrap around quite a ways before it happens, but I doubt that. This guy has a lot of movement capability. If he has any movement cards, he's liable to grab a first move. Yellow and red both took card draws, I think, to fill out their hand to prepare for purchasing a god. Oh no, red bought their god, and yellow bought their god. Sorry. They actually had the setup already for that. Green decides to take the movement action, manages to shoot way out here, get close to this, picks up a couple columns, not only for expansion right now, but for the remainder of the turns. They're going to need more columns for the reasons I discussed. Blue had a lot of feet in their hand as well, so they were able to zip all over the place here and head down this way as well, picking up columns as well. Red didn't have a lot of feet, just their freebies, but that was enough to jump them here and get a column. Nice little move, and puts them close to this. Everyone else has kind of a walk to get there. For example, blue, 1, 2, 3, 4 away. Red's only 2 away, and they definitely have the feet for that. That gives us over to the yellow player, who found they could use their jump ability to grab themselves 2 more layers, putting them up to a level 4. Next scoring round, that's going to get them an extra 2 points for each of these, and that they didn't have to pay a lot of additional gold for. We're talking, this cost 3, so a difference of 7 gold. It's really hard to get to this without some kind of bonus like that. So that's kind of sweet. That was green's turn, so now we're back around to blue. Red pulls off kind of a dicky move. First they spend $2, get themselves down here, get a handful of 4 new cards. Bang, nice. Now they expend their god token, jump over this. If they had a column, they could have bought their way through, but they end up getting this last token and ending the epic there. So they get the 3 victory points for ending the epic, which, probably somebody else would have gotten if they hadn't done this move. They might have been able to do something else, but it seemed like a cool action. Of course, that gets rid of the god token that sweeps the gods here off the board, which they may have had a good chance of getting. So that also puts this $2 gold card into the discard pile, which means it's available for play later. We're seeing these cards aren't really coming out, mainly maybe because I don't buy gods as easily as, at least in this game. Anyway, yellow took a draw because they had nowhere really to go with their, they had no feet to move, just 1. They didn't have a good jump to make, so that's all they could really do. Green, likewise, I think all they had was this foot. They couldn't get into this space, not with that. Blue, on the other hand, was able to stretch their way down and grab another column, so they didn't take a card. That gets us to the end of this epic, and we draw for a new one. Does that seem right? I haven't pulled the feet off. Alright, I'll come back. Okay. Let's see what we got here. We got Egypt. They fill this one. Red went last, so this is going to be yellow's turn. Starting out there. We get some new gods. We gotta look up what Egypt's bonus is. We've seen all of these before. And another one of her for some bonus victory points. Really valuable for him with his already having a level 4 there. Of course, this guy's got a level 3, which is worth some points too. Let's see. We got to place the tiles from the bag in. But let's look up what the Egypt bonus is. Now, I'll come back after that. But Egypt's special bonus is trade feet or columns with columns or feet from the general supply. So if you ended up with too many of something, this could be a good time. It could also be a good time if you're low on columns, like red is, to say, I might be able to get a column here, with the feet I have, I'm going to trade it in at this point. So that's kind of a nice little balancing act at this point in the game. All right, well, I think everybody but yellow traded a foot in for a column. Yellow looked and said, I don't think I'm really happy with that. I am happy enough with the balance I have. I don't want to get rid of more feet. Maybe mistaken. They may have done it as well. It seems like a good buy for most of these people. They had a lot of feet. If they need more feet, they can buy them. But I don't know. Somebody like this has so much capability to place 3 extra feet on any movement actions. That's or steps or whatever. That can expend a good deal. Of course, there's this piece here, which will give you extra feet pieces if you have them in your stock, and that might have actually been close to an issue. Nah, everybody's got a lot of pieces left. All right, so we start off with yellow, and we'll see if they... Oh, I hope I scored this. I don't know. Sometimes when I leave something like that, it's to describe what happens. I'm worried that these are all accounted for and they were supposed to get a god at some point in the game. Too bad. For what's out on the board, yeah, we got another upgrade here. That's not terribly interesting to too many people unless you picked that up as well. Or if you're this person, they're kind of falling behind in terms of getting any value from that. All right, we'll see if yellow's got some feet that they can use. Otherwise, they may be looking to try to buy up the good gods as quickly as possible, score that way. All right, most people's hands were kind of depleted at the beginning of this. Yellow and green, I think each took... it looks like a god pick. I don't know if that was just now. I get kind of lost sometimes. Green definitely took a god pick. Purchasing that. Got to blue, and blue said, hey, you're not going to pass by me with foot. I got free feet sitting here. And he also ended up picking up a minor god and some extra pieces to play with. Only one more round after this. Was able to play cards and actually position themselves to get another column probably next time, and a number, 2 tiles in a column. That's pretty rich payoff. Red also took advantage of the move, upgraded to a 4. They're really looking at this as a possible interest, but here's the problem. These don't help you get that. You've got to have the cards in the hand, but they had a rich hand of cards and managed to pull 5 more cards. Now, this is important. I had to look this up. You can't use those cards at the time you draw them, so they're going to hear. That replenishes them and gives them a good hand, either for if they get a chance. Well, they do get a chance because they go next. Yellow and green did not expand. They took a draw. They just didn't have anything they can get. They could start moving towards something, but hey, they might as well take a move action on their next turn if that's the best thing they can do. If they have move card, if they have any foot cards or whatever to give them steps, they might as well do it on their own. They might be able to end the turn that way and get some extra points there. So we're moving on to red now. All right, well, whipping around red. Here's the problem. These games, there start becoming so many things on the table. The progressive nature of Euros makes it hard for me to remember what I'm doing. So when I go around for a whole round, geez, what actually did happen? It gets harder and harder as I go. Red did another move action, I think. Now they're tapped out, but they grabbed all of this. They're being tapped out is a big deal, that they don't have any more tokens left. I think yellow and green each did draws in order to get 3 more cards. They weren't in a position to take anything. And that put us to blue, who's sitting on still a lot of feet. And he had, I think, a couple more in his hand, but maybe not. He didn't need them. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4. I think he had to spend 1. I'm not sure. That's how I'm counting. Oh no, 1, 2, 3, 4. So he didn't have to spend any. He got enough from his action. Other people, well, red had no pieces. Red could have ended this or grabbed more columns or done all kind of cool things, but he had nothing in hand and no way to get any additional movement, so he had to take a draw. Yellow, you can see bopped in using his jump ability to hop over here and get a column. And then green streaked down and grabbed himself a point. And oh, those feet should all be moving away from where they come from, right? All right. That puts us over to red, and red needs to generate the ability to go anywhere if they want to end this. They're not going to probably be able to do that, so now they're going to look, hey, can I get a god? I've collected a pack of stuff. I'll be getting my feet back next turn, or maybe I'll do a purchase and prepare myself for that final epic. One thing to keep in mind is where things are going to show up next turn. I got Rome, Persia, and Greece as my only options. Rome, Greece, and Persia. That means, wow, this tends to be the case. There aren't any empty pillars anywhere, but the question is, are there any at all that you can reach to? If Persia comes up, anyone but yellow might be able to get this one. If Greece comes up, there are a couple of free ones available nearby that you could reach. And if Rome comes up likewise, there are a couple nearby that you could reach. But columns are becoming harder to get by a lot. So now, on this last turn, well, making that 12th column is going to be tough. And maybe somebody like green might regret having 2 extra columns at this point. And the board's getting tight enough, I'm not sure what's going on, but people didn't have a lot they could do. I believe red picked up the last of the 2-point gold cards. Now there's a 3-point on top, which is pleasing if you get this guy. Got himself a god and got some serious points off that. Yellow, I think, I don't see a god in his hand, did some drawing to position himself for purchasing one of the gods. Green was looking at the same thing and said, hey, wait a minute. I have this double turn possibility. It's probably not going to be too valuable on the last turn of the game. Spent a lot of money to get the feet to do this, as well as upgrading one of these. Now, upgrading this was kind of neat because that actually would have allowed him to buy the god, get the 3-point gold, but he didn't do that. He's just positioning himself there. The main thing he wanted to do was end the turn, grabbing another column and grabbing himself a minor god, which I haven't drawn yet. One of the risks here. Still not up to the good ones yet. But he did spend his god, which gets rid of that. He got a column. How much is that column worth? Probably not as much as the god would have been worth that he could have taken. But it also seals things off for other people, so I don't know. It's hard to tell. Plus, he got this extra 2 points here. So that column, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He, I think, made a bad deal there. Say that column's worth 3 points. Yeah, throw this in and he breaks even. But he would have also gotten the gold had he done the double turn that way. Mistake. But here's the other thing. This is what pushes it over. He gets 3 points for ending the turn. Yay! Alright, I'm going to put up another video for the final turn of this game because I like to do a little bit of a wrap before I go to the review. So we'll move the little house over to blue and do some cleanup. Remove your feet from the board. The rule that I like best in this game. Alright, up it goes.